Coming up, flags are at half-mast in honor of the late Dean Branham. Hear from community members who attended their vigil this afternoon to remember the Newhouse Dean's life and legacy.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 24 ayes, 17 noes.
The ayes have it. The resolution is amended, is agreed to.
And the House Judiciary Committee approves a subpoena of the full Mueller report. Find out what the vote means for the Trump campaign.
Plus, the I-81 series continues. Hear why some supporters want the compromise deal, a mix between the tunnel and community grid, and also why developing on the new land around the interstate may not be an option. Citrus TV News live at 6 starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Earlier this afternoon, members of the Syracuse community joined together to remember the late Newhouse Dean Lorraine Branham. I'm Noah Eagle.
And I'm Claudia Bellofatto. Branham died yesterday after battling cancer. There was a vigil this afternoon in honor. New at 6. Citrus TV reporter Amber McElrath is live from Hendricks Chapel, where she spoke to those who attended the vigil to remember the life of an esteemed member of the SU family. Amber?
Students and faculty members and community members tied orange ribbons to the trees you see behind me to honor the life and legacy of Dean Branham. Dean Branham was the dean of the SI Newhouse School of Public Communications since 2008 and passed away yesterday after a hard-fought battle with cancer. Dean Branham was a fighter. She was the first woman or person of color to serve as Newhouse's dean. In her time at Newhouse, Dean Branham led the multi-million-dollar fundraising campaign for the renovation of Newhouse 2. She oversaw the creation of the Center for Digital Media Entrepreneurship, in addition to many other accomplishments.
She really pulled us into the 21st century in many different ways, technically, technologically, academically, diversity of students and faculty and staff. And, you know, she was an innovator, and there's no going back.
But her contributions to the community extend beyond Newhouse. Dean Branham was an icon in the media industry, a mentor, an educator, and a friend. She fought for us, for the students. Many students can remember the specific impact she had on them. And for those who didn't have the opportunity to meet Dean Branham, her reach still extends to help and support the many students at Syracuse University.
As you leave today and head to Newhouse in a few minutes, my challenge for you all is to walk through those doors forever inspired, with a passionate fire ignited inside of you to honor my Dean's legacy and your Dean's legacy.
While we mourn the loss of a member of our Orange family, we also reflect on the many accomplishments of someone who makes us proud to be members of the Syracuse community. Live outside of Newhouse 3, I'm Amber McElrath, Citrus TV News.
Newhouse's Race in the Media Symposium continues today following last night's panel with journalist Lakshmi Singh. The event began this morning with a talk from Paul Overberg, a data reporter who helped compile USA Today's Diversity Index. After Overberg's talk, 5 Newhouse alumni gave talks on their experiences with diversity in post-grad life. NSU continues to take steps towards its dome renovation. The athletics department announced today that it will vacate the dome in March of next year. It is currently unknown how the dome renovations will affect the department's sports teams, but lacrosse will likely be affected the most. Next year's commencement weekend could also be moved if the dome is not ready in time.
Now taking a look at our first weather. It was sunny outside, but it was definitely a little breezy.
It was, but I was loving the sunshine, I gotta say. And today we get to check out some dogs that were on the campus. Oh, so cute. Jenna Babyak is outside on the promenade now. Jenna, what's it like out there? What's it like out there?
Bet you thought I was done telling you about weather advisories. Well, we've got another one in place right now. This is a wind advisory, but check this out. Despite some chilly winds today, students were out enjoying the sun. The average today was 54 degrees, but real feel was 45. Wind gusts reached up to 43 miles per hour. Now, a wind advisory means that strong winds may blow down trees and power lines. Power outages are possible, and if you're driving, keep a firm grip on that steering wheel. We saw a little bit of rain a couple hours ago, but right now it is partly cloudy. Currently it is 44 degrees, and that wind advisory will be in place until 11 p.m. tonight. I'll let you know what the rest of the week will bring in my full weather forecast coming up later in the show. Thanks, guys. Back to you in studio.
Jenna, you really got to stop with all these weather advisories. We continue our exclusive I-81 Crossroads series with a closer look at the tunnel hybrid option, and CitrusTV's Anna Azallion is live in studio with views from those who support the hybrid and those who are against it.
Yeah, Noah, there used to be a lot of talk about a tunnel option, and there's still a lot of talk about the community grid option, but many are now getting behind the hybrid option, which merges the tunnel and the community grid together. For the most part, officials in the Syracuse suburbs are the ones really pushing for the hybrid option. I spoke with several people from both the suburbs and the city of Syracuse, and there's a lot of pros and cons on both sides. One common theme, though, is a tunnel is not going to solve the I-81 problem.
A tunnel alone is not going to work at all, because it's not going to allow those people who have business in the city, work in the city, want to be tourists, taking advantage of what the city has to offer. They wouldn't have that option without some type of an exit off of that highway. I think the grid has some merit, but the grid cannot solve everyone's issues.
Those two options combined creates the hybrid option, which is endorsed by the town supervisors of Onondaga County.
If you really can imagine it, if you had a tunnel and then on top of that tunnel you had a grid.
Ulatowski says this option gives everyone what they want: a community grid for those headed into the city and a tunnel for those who want to bypass it.
And I'm trying to look at the needs of everyone in the central New York region, which includes Cortland County, Oswego County, Cayuga County, Onondaga County, to some extent even Jefferson County. That's more than just the city of Syracuse.
Some people, however, argue the hybrid option isn't as picture perfect as it sounds.
The DOT didn't come up with that. That was an alternative outside idea paid by private consultants.
Haley says a private company evaluated the feasibility of a tunnel, and now the community needs to wait for the Department of Transportation to release their findings.
The DOT has not shown us this tunnel yet. We don't know what the DOT has in the tunnel option. That's why we just have to wait.
Haley gives many negatives to a tunnel, but what it all boils down to is this:
I don't think we've seen a tunnel option that works.
Syracuse Common Councilor Joe Driscoll has similar views.
I do not think that the hybrid is a real option.
One reason Driscoll gives for this opinion is the fact that the hybrid has not yet been in any DOT reports. This isn't the only negative he sees, though.
The tunnel, I just think, is cost intensive. It doesn't make any sense.
Driscoll says the DOT has taken tunnel options off the table because of cost. He says the highest they're willing to spend is about $2 billion. Driscoll says the cost of the hybrid would be about $4.5 billion, plus the price to build the community grid on top. On the flip side, all of the mayors from Onondaga County, except for one, have come out in favor of the hybrid option.
Substituting a standalone street and current alignment in Interstate 81 would cause traffic to spill into the suburbs, harming the families and businesses that have grown along Route 81, leaving thousands to commute via back roads, congest the suburbs, and devastate blows to our local businesses and our quality of life in our villages.
Now, what Olson was talking about there is the fact elected officials in the towns and villages surrounding the city of Syracuse have several concerns about a community grid option without a tunnel. Those concerns include quality of life in their towns and villages, travel time for ambulances heading from the suburbs to hospitals in the city, and environmental impact.
So, Anna, you said that there's one Onondaga County mayor who doesn't support this whole in-between of these two ideas. Who would that be?
Yeah, so City of Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh has not come out in support of the hybrid. Okay. He is a community grid proponent.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Ricky, you dug into the tunnel option a little bit, but you say there's a catch with it. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
Sure. So first I want to say that going off the Fayetteville mayor's point, there is some pushback from supporters of the community grid that say that there's only 12% of drivers who are going to need to take a new route. Those are Department of Transportation numbers. As for the catch, it would be that the option would limit how connected the new grid could be, and it would limit some possible increases in tax revenue for the city. There's also a concern that if the land can physically support a tunnel. We spoke with one architect in the city of Syracuse who said he's had some issues building downtown in the past.
And we know the clay and the soils in the center of Syracuse are really tricky.
He says the state would need to test what the exact soil conditions are and if it can support the tunnel option.
We don't know. They may come back and say, can't do it. Or they may come back and say, we can do it, but here's how you got to do it. We don't know.
The tunnel has to figure out if they can go underneath that and not tamper or damage the foundations on our current buildings in the city.
Tunnel critics also doubt how the tunnel and the ideal community grid option could coexist.
If you're looking at a deep tunnel, you have to be able to get into it and get out of it, and I'm concerned about how that disrupts the street grid and the neighborhoods around it.
Those same critics say ramps coming in and out of the tunnel could limit how many structures could be built. It would also mean additional buildings would have to be demolished.
And selfishly for me as the city mayor, more property off of the tax rolls.
And the city of Syracuse is very, very far from being self-sustainable. Currently, about 53% of our property is tax exempt. The universities are tax exempt. The hospital is tax exempt.
An independent study on the possibility of a working tunnel found that if officials select the option, 12 buildings need to go. The other I-81 options would also include demolitions. A rebuilt viaduct would demolish 24 buildings. A grid would demolish 5, while at the same time allowing for new space for construction.
What our report showed is about 18.6 acres of land that could be opened up if the DOT gave us back some of the right-of-way they don't need to do the community grid option.
Parking lots could turn into apartment buildings. Parts of the current highway footprint turned into retail stores.
We came up with a growth where if you developed one city block, you could gain about $3.4 or $3.5 million per year on the city and county tax revenues for that property.
When you take into account the grid option opens up 13 blocks, there would be a possible $48 million in additional tax revenue. It's far from a definite, but for the common councilor, it's an opportunity he hopes the city doesn't pass up.
Our gap in budgeting is some years $5-6 million. If we were getting another 10 million, 20 million from thriving economic growth that could potentially be built up around the grid, then it could be a huge game changer.
Concerned that all of that development could have the effect of gentrifying the community, raising the price of living, and forcing people on the south side of the city to leave their homes. That's a story we hope to bring you soon.
Thanks, Ricky. The sixth part of the I-81 Crossroads series will air on tomorrow's News Live at 6. We'll explore why those living in the city and the suburbs are split on how to fix the interstate. And coming up, a judge sentences Penn State University students to jail after the death of Timothy Piazza.
Find out how much time they will serve.
And later, let's talk money. I'll be live in studio to give you some tips on how not to sell yourself short. Stay with us.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's smoking!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah.
Hey Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver. The one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
A judge sentenced 4 previous members of the Beta Theta Pi fraternity at Penn State today. All are in connection with the death of Timothy Piazza.
Piazza was killed in February of 2017 during his first night pledging the fraternity. 3 of the 4 students will face jail time from 30 days to a possible 9 months, and the other student is under house arrest. House Democrats will authorize subpoenas to get full version of the Robert Mueller report, and this comes after a Judiciary Committee vote this morning.
New York Democrat Jared Nedler is expected to issue a subpoena to Attorney General William Barr sometime in the next month. Barr said that report showed no collusion with the Trump campaign in the 2016 election.
Yesterday marked Equal Pay Day in the U.S., bringing awareness to the gender pay gap in which women on average make 80 cents for every $1 that a man makes.
The New York State Labor Department released a guide on how to negotiate salary offers, hoping to close that gap a little more. Citrus TV analyst Tyler Lowell is here to help graduating students entering the job market bargain for bigger checks. Tyler?
Thank you, Claudia. The semester is rapidly coming to a close, and many students are starting to hear back about jobs. We all know that entry-level jobs won't leave you living the high life, but don't be so quick to accept the first offer, especially if you're a woman. You might be leaving thousands of dollars sitting on the table. The biggest piece of advice from experts would be, don't be afraid. If you've made it to the point where employers are offering you jobs, that means that they're invested in you, and there's a certain expectation that you'll put your needs on the table. But to do this, you must do your research. Check out sites like Glassdoor and Payscale.com to get a sense of what the company pays. Don't ask for $25,000 when you can get $35,000. And those same experts say that you should always show enthusiasm and excitement when offered a job, but take a 24 to 48 hour period to review the offer once it's made. Don't be afraid to ask the employer for those terms in writing, and consider the whole package, since there may be more to it than just the base salary. Things like paid time off or relocation assistance, maybe even the option to work from home can also sweeten that deal. The full salary negotiation guide for New York can be found at labor.ny.gov.
All right, Tyler, so we're both graduating seniors. I don't really know if we're ready to do so, but we're graduating seniors in a couple of weeks. So any final tips for us to maximize what we can make?
Absolutely. Practice. Go through those sort of salary negotiations on your own, just so that you can kind of get the words in your mouth, and bring those notes to you so that if you get flustered, you can read them. Negotiate the whole package all at once. Prioritize, come in with everything prioritized by importance. You might risk frustrating the hiring manager and putting some delays if you don't. And be clear on the specific things that you want. Know why you're asking for a certain amount of money, because it makes it a little easier for them to justify giving it to you in the end.
Yeah, try to weather that storm. And speaking of, Jenna, what's coming up in weather?
Well, thanks, Noah. Now, will tomorrow bring rain or shine? I'll let you know in my full weather forecast. Stay with us.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Wait, why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where the Cavs go on vacation? New York.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back. Joining us now is CitrusTV weather anchor Jenna Babyak. Jenna, how was it out there? We were saying it was sunny, but it was windy, so it was still chilly. Tell me you have good news for us.
Yeah, actually, I was pretty cold out there. My fingers are a little bit numb. I know.
I feel like this happens every time.
Yeah, it really does. I don't know why I keep going outside and doing that to myself, but let's take a look at tonight again. Now, tonight, it's going to be still pretty clear, so we're not going to see any precipitation coming in. It's about the same temperature, too, 44 like it was when I was outside. Let's take a look at that future radar again. We saw that rain. See, that's on the tail end of what we were seeing earlier today, but that's long gone. Right now, it's pretty clear, some clouds, but other than that, pretty clear right now. Now, let's take a look at some temperatures in the area. Pretty consistent throughout, although we do see some differences between the north and the south. We see even 50 down south in Ithaca and all the way down to 41 up north. But other than that, it's pretty consistent with the sun and the clouds. No precipitation in the area right now. Now, let's plan your day for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is going to be pretty similar to today, although the winds are definitely going to lower a little bit. It'll be 33 in the morning at 9 a.m. when you wake up, and then it's going to get a little warmer by the evening, and then we're not going to see some of that rain until we get later into Friday. Now, here is Corey with sports. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Jenna. Coming up on sports, Syracuse men's lacrosse traveled to Geneva last night for the team's 105th all-time meeting with Hobart. Plus, Tiana Monacahia is simply running out of room in her trophy case. You might need to clear out some shelf space. That and more after the break.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
And now, your CitrusTV Sports Report.
Good evening and welcome to sports. I'm Corey Spector. SU men's lacrosse has had its fair share of ups and its fair share of downs this season. Syracuse came off one of those duds, though, against Notre Dame in South Bend on Saturday. But the Orange faced a familiar foe on Tuesday, an opponent that the Cuse has quite simply dominated. John Desko and company have defeated Hobart for 5 consecutive years, and SU looked to trample the Statesmen once more last night. This time in Geneva, just about an hour west of Syracuse. 2-2 score after the first quarter, but that's when Hobart took the lead right here as Derek Madonna strolls past Brett Barlow. The East Syracuse Manoa native beats Drake Porter. Hobart on top 3-2. But then Syracuse goes on a 3-0 run of its own. Brendan Curry finds David Lipka right on the doorstep. SU takes a 5-3 lead. But later on, Hobart connects once again, moving it around the perimeter. And then Eric Holden secures his 29th goal of the year. This man is for real. Hobart ties it up at 5 apiece. But then it's Syracuse all out from there. Early in the third quarter, Nate Solomon finds Bradley Voigt, and #1 in Navy scores for SU. 3-goal lead for the Orange. Jacob Buttermore scoreless in his past 3 games. Well, he found the back of the net there. He scored once, he scored twice, and then Stephen Rafis said, "You have it." Buttermore with the hat trick. Syracuse goes on to win 17-5, reclaiming the Kraus-Simmons trophy. Drake Porter made 16 saves after getting yanked from the second half against Notre Dame on Saturday. And after this one, the junior talked about his mentality.
When you're a goalie in lacrosse, I mean, sometimes you just gotta bear down and just think like, I gotta save the ball. If I went into today like, wow, I really need to recover from all that, like it would just be kind of dumb, and I'd be putting more pressure on myself than I need to. I just try to think about save the next ball, talk to the D, and hopefully everything works out. I try not to overthink it too much.
Meanwhile, on the women's side, Syracuse stayed red hot today. The Orange are up to #3 in the nation, and they just picked up their 7th win in a row. Virginia Tech didn't make it easy, though. The Hokies scored 4 straight goals in the last 8 minutes, but 4 different players for SU scored multiple goals, including a career-high 4 from Megan Carney. The Cuse has still only lost 2 games this season against the only 2 teams ranked ahead of them, Boston College and Maryland. Meanwhile, in women's basketball, Tiana Monacahia racks in another individual accolade. 2 days after being named an All-America Honorable Mention, today Monacahia was awarded the D1 Women's Basketball Player of the Year by the Eastern College Athletic Conference. The rising senior announced on Monday that she is returning to SU for one final season and will not enlist in the WNBA draft. Monacahia became the fastest player in program history to record 1,000 career points and is Syracuse's all-time leader in assists. In baseball tonight, the Yankees close out their 3-game set with the Tigers. Right now, New York trails Detroit 2-1 heading into the 9th inning, and the Mets look to polish off a sweep against the Marlins. Both teams went scoreless in the first, and New York is back at the plate at the top of the second right now. And the Knicks are in unfamiliar territory this evening. New York can win back-to-back games for the first time since February. Also, the Nets welcome in the #2 seed in the Eastern Conference, the Toronto Raptors. Tip-off is slated for 7:30. And in hockey tonight, the Rangers challenged the NHL's last-place team, the lowly Ottawa Senators, at Madison Square Garden in just about an hour. Busy night in New York sports.
Yeah, and a big game for the Nets tonight. Thanks so much, Corey. Coming up after the break, we've got one last look at your weather.
Stay tuned.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning? Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back. We've got Jenna Babyak here again, our weather anchor. What are we looking like the rest of the week weather-wise?
All right, so let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. So for tomorrow, it's going to be pretty nice, pretty mild, just like today. Less wind. And then Friday, we've got a little bit of a mix-up, some rain and even possibly some snow. But then Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday, it's going to get gradually warmer, and we're going to be able to enjoy those days. So it's going to be nice and warm, pretty mild, perfect weather for the rest of the week.
Thanks so much, Jenna. That's all we've got. I'm Noah Eagle.
I'm Claudia Bellofatto. Have a good night, Syracuse.